Right, thanks for that, Buhle. It's now time to check in with the leading stories in our Sunday newspaper headlines. Let's start off with the Sunday Times. It says, a new era for SA fuel pricing. Discount wars at pumps may be the future as the state moves to free up the market. Speaking to some of the concerns around the price of fuel, government has now set the ball rolling to free up South Africa's highly regulated fuel prices, which, of course, will allow retailers to compete on price and offer motorists some form of discount and special offers to fill up their stations. For the first time in South Africa's history, the price of fuel will not be determined by the government after it takes the first step in this direction in June. So this change has, of course, been welcomed by industry experts and economists. And we also listened to Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana saying that moving to full deregulation in the longer term could cost the fiscus 90 billion rand a year, which would be recouped. That's according to the minister. So they're speaking about the first steps, which are designed to give motorists some sort of reprieve from the rising fuel prices, which, of course, we know, Buhle, this week hit record highs. The Ukraine war and the prospect of further increases have sped up the surprise move to deregulate, which has previously been resisted. So some welcoming news, some hope, glimmer of hope. And right on the end there of the Sunday Times, on the sidelines, it says perjury, just smolanyana stuff for Bathabile. Of course, the disgraced ANC Women's League president is now fighting efforts to remove her from the post by arguing that her crime was not serious enough to warrant such action. Two of her senior allies speaking to this, and we know that Dlamini is set to meet President Cyril Ramaphosa and the rest of the ANC top six, except, of course, ex-Secretary General Ace Magashule, who is himself on suspension tomorrow, when she will be asked to explain why she did not step aside after she was found guilty of perjury. Some important heated questions there for Bathabile Dlamini.
Yeah, the fire seems to be raging in Bathabile Dlamini's life at the moment. I want to move to the sports section of the Sunday Times. This is quite an important topic for fans. This says they need to be wooed back to stadiums. All the excitement will come to naught if clubs don't change strategies on how they sell their games. This goes on to say it should not be business as usual when South African sport bodies and clubs take measures to attract fans back to stadiums. There's already been an indication that people are not going back to the venues in their numbers as anticipated. After an unexpected low turnout in the United Rugby Championship matches against the Dragons last week, the Bulls decided to lower the ticket price to accommodate for more fans. It's usually about 200 to 250 rand, but they made it a once-off 25 rand for yesterday's encounter against Ulster at Loftus. They were hoping to have more than 20,000 fans at the venue, which can accommodate up to 26,000 when half full, but that did not happen. Same thing with Mamelodi Sundowns. They allowed fans to watch the CAF Champions League final Group A match against Al Merrikh for free at the FNB Stadium yesterday. They were expecting more than 20,000 fans, far less than the 47,000, which is 50% capacity of the iconic stadium. But, you know, it also wasn't exactly the case. So it seems at the moment, Mpho, that fans have gotten used to sitting in the comfort, on the comfort of their own homes or wherever they do watch sport and watching it from there. There still needs to be more than just opening up stadiums that needs to be done in order to get the fans and the feet back into stadiums. Mind you, we had a problem with stadiums being half empty already before the pandemic. So there is some work that needs to be done by clubs as well as, I would imagine, stadium officials at the moment.
Absolutely. Let's now turn our attention to the Sunday Independent, which reads High Noon for DD. Speaking of Deputy President David Mabuza, the top ANC man, I mean, there's a newly elected Mpumalanga ANC chairperson. We learnt of him yesterday, Mandla Ndlovu. He's been accused of capturing municipalities and using his patronage network, which included councillors, to raise funds for his campaign to succeed DD Mabuza as provincial chairperson. Now, all of this comes after Ndlovu swept to power at the 13th Provincial Elective Conference in eMalahleni yesterday, in what some ANC members are now claiming was a sign that perhaps President Cyril Ramaphosa's renewal efforts have failed. So the new top 5 leadership was described by political analysts as a collection of supporters of Ramaphosa, Mabuza, and suspended ANC General Ace Magashule. So ANC sources, and even though Ndlovu recently switched to political allegiance and joined the Ramaphosa camp, he was a staunch supporter of former President Jacob Zuma and a key ally to Mabuza for many years. So we will be expanding on this discussion with political analyst Stephen Friedman a little later on this morning. Really interesting developments there when it comes to the politics of the ANC. Another story on the front page of the Sunday Independent: Malcolm X fights to keep Sibongile Mani out of jail. Walter Sisulu University student Sibongile Mani, who was convicted of theft after using 818,000 rand of the 14 million rand that was wrongly deposited into a student account, has been sentenced to 5 years behind bars. So no one in the world will face the challenges he faced. That's according to a philanthropist who goes by the name Malcolm X. And he's saying that he is going to do all it takes to help Sibongile Mani make sure that she doesn't get jailed.
Yeah, she really does need that help. I want to go to page 6 of the Sunday Independent. This is a health topic. 10 people die of tuberculosis every hour in South Africa. Shocking stats, those.
Very much so.
You know, with COVID-19, with the onset of COVID-19, TB has been affected by that lockdown. It has reversed years of global progress in tackling TB, and for the first time in over a decade, TB deaths have increased, and this is according to the WHO's 2021 Global TB Report. Each person with TB can spread it to another 15 individuals over a year, and is transmitted through the air, not by surface contact. Now, I'm just mentioning this because of this really horrifying stat of 10 people every hour in South Africa dying from this disease, and it goes on to just give a number of symptoms that you can look for in children, including a cough for a couple of weeks, loss of energy, mild fever, which is also said to be present in children in particular that have TB. But definitely, you know, now that we're looking to finally get past COVID, we're going to start seeing the re-emergence of other diseases that have been plaguing us, particularly in South Africa.
Absolutely. Let's now move on to the City Press. It says Northwest pays 17 billion rand back to Treasury in the face of all its problems. The province's government departments failing to use their budgets, leaving citizens in dire straits. And just getting reaction to the story, Organisation Undoing Tax Abuses Wayne Duvenage was saying that the problem here of returning money to Treasury meant that government was not spending wisely. And of course we know that Northwest has been one of the worst service delivery records in the country, and it's on the verge of giving back the 17 billion rand of a total combined budget of 57.4 billion rand to National Treasury, because its departments have not been able to spend the money. So this inability by the provincial government, which of course we know has been under administration because of bad governance, to spend 1/3 of its budget has left millions of the province's citizens in dire straits. The situation in the Northwest mirrors that of most provinces and national departments, where money is repeatedly returned to Treasury and, of course, leaving the people on the ground in dire straits. Really speaking to a serious problem here. And on the front page still is a beautiful couple, former Miss SA, Tamarin Green, and entrepreneur Z Ngumalo, saying "I do" at a lavish white wedding in Stellenbosch in the Western Cape yesterday. The couple, who got engaged a year ago, celebrated their umembeso in October. Some good news. Nice to see good news.
Absolutely. I want to move to the Sunday World. On the front page, War for the Soul of Home Affairs, an explosive report prepared by former Minister Aaron Motsoaledi lifts the lid on fake passport syndicate, and that is on page 2. Fake passport syndicate worms its way deep into Home Affairs. The Hawks arrested a Home Affairs official in Nelspruit for colluding with a farm owner and taking a bribe to shield 11 illegal Malawian immigrants from being deported. This was, during a raid that happened with the members of the passport syndicate arrested in Krugersdorp during that joint operation. There's been an explosive report by the Department of Home Affairs' top brass that's lifted the lid on the extent to which the recently uncovered fake passport syndicate has penetrated the department, which is a serious security breach for the Republic of South Africa. Now, this is, of course, also in the wake of what's been happening with Operation Dudula and the anti-xenophobic marches as well on that. So a very important conversation and very important time this whole thing is taking place in the context of the country.
And another story on the Sunday World reads the rise of Kubai, which is something that we will be expanding on a little later on the show. Speaking, of course, to Professor Dr. Lucky Matebola of the Think Foundation, the CEO, speaking to the manner in which the president decides on who he's promoting. And this one here speaks to Human Settlements Minister Mamoloko Kubai, emerging as one of President Cyril Ramaphosa's most trusted lieutenants in the cabinet, with the close to the head of state touting her for a top 6 position in the ANC. So we're going to be exploring this and a lot more when it comes to the strategy behind the manner in which President Cyril Ramaphosa deploys and employs. Yeah. So we leave it there for now.
Absolutely, and as always, there's so much more for you to sink your teeth into in the newspapers this morning, but those are your leading stories that we've managed to cover. Up next, we'll bring you the headlines. Then, following Ramaphosa's appointment of Fani Masemola as the new police commissioner, we look at some key patterns in the president's employments in key offices, as mentioned by Mpho in a moment. Stay with us.